And we are live. Uh, I'm so sexy. Yeah, I'm so sexy. I'm sexy. The Baron is so sexy. Yo, ho, she wanna sex me. She all up on my testy. And she cannot best me because I blow up on her chesty. Again, on them, yeah. You know I'm the man. You know I do not play with a nigga who's not a fan of getting all that paper. You know I got to. Yes, exactly. What up, Baron? Yeah, here for a improv stream tonight. How's everybody doing? Um, I wanted to talk about the school analogy that was used in last week's Friday Night Blaze. So, Hidden, if you're listening to this, um, this applies to you. This applies to you. This applies to Tico, and so yeah. So I'm gonna just go ahead and get into this idea. So in the school you have gangs, and you have gangs that develop that are both inside the school and out, or inside the classroom and outside the classroom. And the way this relates to MGTOW and the red pill is that MGTOW is kind of like COVID. MGTOW is kind of like COVID except without the health component, because MGTOWs have, I guess, decided to quarantine themselves from any sort of emotional or physical relationships. At least though that they publicly, flaunt. Like they're not, MGTOWs aren't really big on publicly talking about relationships, marriage, cohabitation, or kids or anything like that. So because they're not public about it, um, you could almost think of it as like it's like COVID, because it's like they're quarantining any sort of like relationships or any sort of like female nature stuff that they're dealing with. They're they're putting it they're quarantining themselves from it. So because of how toxic it is and because of how the laws are, I guess, set up now. Although you could say that the laws are pretty much going to, if shit hits the fan, I mean the laws are pretty much gone. But that's not, neither here or there. That's a whole other topic, and live stream to deal with. But when it comes to or online learning, online schooling, this is something that I think will be able to add to that MGTOW being the school analogy used to define the red pill and MGTOW. So now that we have online schooling and a lot of kids are going to school on the computer, a lot of parents are upset with screen time. And so after a lecture, a lot of the kids will be able to stay in the online lecture hall and talk amongst themselves. And what educators have come to know or kind of understand is that, uh, after observing these lecture halls, these online lecture halls, is that students form their own gangs, and this also, I think, relates to red pill rage too. So stay tuned if you want to listen to my analysis of the whole thing in general. So in this day of COVID and of social distancing and things like that, the teachers, even the teachers will admit they are not responsible for the gangs that form, or the groups of people that form as a result of being online, or even in just school in general. Just because you're a teacher and just because you are responsible for teaching the kids when they gather together doesn't mean you're responsible for how those kids click up. And what I noticed about MGTOW is point blank period. It is kind of like a gang, but it's not like a gang that's outside of the school. It's a gang of ragtag people, rugged people, I guess you could say, or so ruggedly individualistic, and we are tied together by, you could say, our shared experiences. Although there are other kids in the school that have some of the same experiences as MGTOW, they just don't identify as MGTOW because MGTOW as a gang in the school is very selective on who it lets in. And I know people are going to say, oh, you're calling it a cult. You're calling it a cult. Why are you calling it a cult? It's not a cult. It's just that it is a group of people that are agreeing to, I guess, because are agreeing to, I guess, pick up out of a jar of little pieces of paper certain topics to discuss among one another when there's a lull in the learning, when the learning has been so much that you need to take a break, like almost like a break in screen time or something like that. So while we're looking at all this information and while we're experiencing all these transformations that happen as a result of learning the information, during the breakout session and during when the teachers are away, and to put it more directly, when the red pill and things like that aren't affecting us as much, is when we all find ourselves together in MGTOW. And so overall, I think that MGTOW itself is kind of one of those things where it's a breakout session, and afterwards everyone goes back to learning. But during the gang affiliation of MGTOW, we kind of are forced to, I guess, just coexist with one another and share our experiences. And I guess some of us choose to dissect the lecture material. Some of us choose to stick our nose in the books and tune out, but still remain a part of the group. A lot of people who are in this, I guess you could say this lecture hall, this online lecture hall, when they're in the gang group, they tend to tamper down their emotionality, just as a result of this medium and of us being able to talk at such a length. Is why I realized that some people monopolize or overpower the conversations in MGTOW. Even the other people in it nonetheless are an equal part of the equation. So I don't get upset when people tend to post a lot about it or overwhelmingly, or push out content regarding it, because they're the ones in the situation that are taking initiative and addressing these talking points, while the rest of us sit back and process either the lecture or something else, or just using the time to decompress. Like, I know a lot of people like Sifu, Black Irish, Elder Monk, that guy, who else? But Sifu is a good example, because Sifu, he said many times that he just likes to sit and listen, and then when he enters into the debate or into the conversation, he's very high energy. You love that about him. So this is just something that I noticed is a huge trend. And what up, Shinobi One? In the MGTOW community is we have our set learning area. So some of us, it may be a car that we choose. Some of us may be a house. Some of us, it may be a park. But once we're in that area, we're tuned into the message and we're ready to learn. But it's not like every single part of our day is filled with MGTOW. It's a specific learning area. It's a specific place where we're drawn to, and it's specific people that we like to listen to. And there's also a specific group of people that we like to address and talk to in the MGTOW community. And it's a gang in that way, of ragtag, rugged individuals, as I stated before. And so the part that I also want to reiterate for Shinobi or for anybody else who's jumping in is the fact that people tamp down their emotional expression when they're in a group of people who they consider their peers, because to become emotional in that setting is to sort of give a little bit more information away, and that's what I feel like is a core principle of coexisting in this like little cohort, this little group of loosely affiliated bachelors, however you would describe it. It's about kind of tampering down your emotions, and then you'll notice that in their daily life they emote way more than they do when they're in that space, because a lot of us are just coming out of a lecture, just coming out of a experience, just coming out of something that's really hard for us to deal with. So the emotional suppression is held in contrast to people who use that time to, like I said, address the lecture material and be very expressive, be very emotive. Or you have people who are kind of like the party animals, who just take the time when they're in the group to be the center of attention, but they don't necessarily claim to be a teacher like the red pill actually teaches you. So they're just there to have fun. They're there to network, to mingle, to connect, to bridge the silence, even to connect like minds and to connect people in this group, because it is a study group of sorts. And you have people who choose not to engage in the debate and just sit back and read a book while everyone's talking. And yeah, and hey, what's up? A new wise voice to overpower an old voice. Um, Softly spoken person, gathered will quiet to hear, and grassroots culture. And yeah, so the red pill itself is something that, you know, the teachers of the red pill comes in various forms. You have people who are, for example, a teacher who has a lot of smart students in the class, but is very not self-aware. So the students will take the time of that class to make it sort of to sort of shroud it in irony. The entire theme of that class is just shrouded in irony, because not only do they all feel more advanced than the teacher itself, but they're taking their various experiences that they're bringing from the rest of the school, and they're projecting it into this empty space that the teacher's left, because the teacher has no way of actually connecting and learning that student. So this is like what I feel is responsible for red pill rage, is that in this little gang of people who are very emotive, are very expressive, or just for lack of a better word, they are forced into a room, and they have to choose from a box of topics of shared experiences and try to create talking points and try to fill the dead air, and it can get kind of boring sometimes. The people who are in red pill rage, they have been cast out by this group of people. They cannot relate to these people at all. They are unable to process the social situation that they're in, and they don't want to add to the conversation, or they add to the conversation in a dysfunctional way. And to give you an example, it would be like it would almost be like the people who are in the red pill rage are like this one person that I had in one of my AP history classes. The teacher would be able to teach us, it would teach very well. So let's say everybody is red pilled about relationships in the classroom. Then you have somebody who is trying to become a part of the MGTOW gang, and instead of just acquiescing, he's the person who's like, well, actually, Hungary and this year and that year and the Ottoman Empire, blah, 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 blah. And the teacher's like, well, actually, no, that's not what happened. And the other students are like, yeah, actually, that's not exactly what happened at all. So you're wrong. And that person get gets starts to be fueled by resentment to to pull one over on the entire class and the teacher and prove everyone wrong. This person would be in red pill rage in my assessment. And so yeah, it says a society is coded with probability of MGTOW. Humans are just provide opportunity and time for the accumulation and action on potential. Oh, okay, okay. We're just provided opportunity and time for the calculation. Okay, we humans are just provided with the opportunity in time for the accumulation and action on potential. Rage is within every human, not just red pill induced. Perhaps the red pill is just the straw that broke the man's back. And Shinobi One, I actually I agree with you. I actually agree with you on that, and that's definitely a good uh, uh, addition to my statements there. I feel like this. I feel like where they were talking about it on Friday Night Blaze, that I kind of it set in for me later down the line, and I started to think about it a little bit more deeply, and I started to research education, especially the COVID education norms, and how people exactly or how young people form collectives online, and how they talk amongst themselves, and how they present themselves, and how they try to control their emotions during that process. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was just a short little stream. You guys want, and a lot of these things I don't necessarily quite understand that you posted here, that I would like a little bit more elaboration on if you have the bandwidth to do so. But this is all interesting stuff. I think that you can deal with red pill rage by, obviously, by addressing somebody and by challenging them, because a lot of people try to deal with people who are, or not just red pill, but yeah, like I said, rage. They try to give a kid what they want, instead of doing like what Shinobi One says, and actually testing them by saying, by manipulating the frame of their teaching strategy. So the kid is mad because they can't say something, they can't actually fully flesh out an idea. So you take them to do physical training, or to dodge something, or to hit something. Simulate. So you're saying simulation theory is only half of of the reality. So what would the other half be, if one half is the simulation? Because I'm familiar with simulation and simulacra, and like the whole the Disneyland, the Disneyland example, the Disneyland parable, where Disneyland has to work to, like, the magic of Disney has to be so pure and so real that it legitimizes the rest of the world outside of Disneyland. So the fact that Disneyland is pure fantasy then solidifies the outside world as being reality, when it's just as fantastical and simulated as how the fantasy is simulated in the actual park. And so yeah, I kind of see to in a lot of ways I see this as I see kind of the red pill as a reality check for a lot of people. But the red pill rage, I see it as like people going into fantasy land and stuff with the red pill and seeing how far they can take it. Um, and yeah, so there's a lot to go that goes with it. Because like I notice a lot of content creators will be MGTOW to be red pill, and then they still talk about you know having sex for this with these women, these prostitutes, these bottom feeders, and like just banging out broads and stuff. I mean, I get it. It's all like as a joke, or it's all kind of like just to project this confidence, so that I guess people buy what we're talking about more because we have some confidence. But a lot of the dialogue and stuff gets starts to get blue pilled at a certain point, which I get like really I just get upset with because it's like I don't necessarily want to learn what other people have learned. I want to learn what's best for me to grow. And yeah, left brain, right brain. Can we understand anything other than two versions? So you're talking about like the duality of left brain, right brain. Well, maybe, but for now, one side of our brain see reality as symbols and the other as fact. And yeah, Marcus is right. We you need more sports, and they need more extracurriculars and stuff, and not medication. And it's something I see a lot. Like I was medicated as a kid when I was like 4 or 5. Got put on those behavioral meds, and then later in like fourth grade, I was put on more behavioral meds, and it was kind of like one of the things where I had big like really really bad side effects. I used to walk with a twitch. I used to rub my face to the point where I had marks, like almost like ligature marks on my the sides of my face because I would rub my face all the time. I would like click with my mouth. I would bend my belly in and out. And this was all involuntary stuff that yeah, I was more focused in class and I could get my schoolwork done, but I basically became like a zombie. So this is basically what I see as a huge issue when it comes to educating people online, is that we think that we can feed them all this medicine and all this and give them all this treatment, um, when really all we need to do is just inspire them to go out and do something that's going to get them to actually learn, kind of like what Shinobi One was saying. Being stuck in a cycle, a universal scale simulator made of real information made manifest into 3D matter. Oh yeah, you're right. It is. Watching the chicken journals is like, I don't like the way that it's like your little the fencing or whatever is around. It just feels like it's like I got dropped into Minecraft. It's like a crazy feeling. You need to put them on drugs. It didn't happen and will not. Yeah, but it's like we do things for our kids, and we refuse treatment, or we refuse things that society says are good for our child. It's kind of like gets back to my point about the whole school thing. Like, as a parent, you don't want your kid to be just stuck in front of the screen all day. Even though that's where he can get a lot of information, it's still not good for him, and he needs to unplug and go do something physical, like every once in a while. And it's something I feel like I do a lot because I quote unquote need the red pill, or I'm this young person who hasn't had a lot of experience and I need to take these red pills or else I'm gonna ruin my life. It's like that's good. It's a good mentality, or I guess good advice to sort of push to somebody. but at the same time, like you don't know what that person needs to do exactly. I mean, in their life to like maybe they need to make some mistakes. Maybe they don't need the red pill. Start up this line. All right, buddy. Yeah, you can go dip, dip straight to you. I can't wait till those hens get back and can't wait till you get those hens and then that night. Best of luck to you, Shinobi One, and yeah, keep prepping and be ready for anything. Question everything. Believe nothing. Only pursue truth. My city. Yeah. No, no, sorry. Shinobi One Shinobi One. You type you're ninja on the keyboard. You type so fast. You type so fast. I do it too. I was at work today and there was somebody who was like my boss was like I need you to do a deposit, and by the time he sent me the code I had already put the check in, and I sent him just back one word, just done. And he was like, dang, quick trigger McGraw or something like quick draw McGraw or something like that. But yeah, I tend to take things really fast. Like I tend to take everything, like the red pill and everything. I take it in stride with what I'm doing. I'm not been to change drastically after learning some information that I can't do anything about. And it's one of those things where I've thought about it, and I thought about making like a real like business out of the whole red pill thing, and it just doesn't seem like at this point I really can do much. I mean, I could, yeah, and like the shows and that live streams and everything is good for right now, and I'm not looking to like make money off of the manosphere or the brothers or anything like that, because that would just be cheapening. That would just be cheapening the philosophy for me, and it would be leading to me becoming more well known, which then leads to a whole just list of problems. And so just remain on the DL and just just be who I am. Be yourself. That's what everyone should do. And then like the red pill shouldn't turn you into this utility monster where every single opportunity is a red pill opportunity. You know, I was getting real stressed yesterday, and I had like an existential moment. I called Wind, and I was just talking to him about stuff, and I was like, "Come on, this is ridiculous." Like I was like at my wit's end, and then um, I just had to back up and do a 360 and just relax, because none of this stuff's gonna happen overnight. And you say it came from all that RPG games? For me, it came from I worked like in hospitality and stuff, so it's kind of like you do that in order to get the guest to feel like you're actually doing something. You just start just typing really fast. Oh God, good Lord, Shinobi. Yeah, but I like RPG games. I play Skyrim a lot, Fallout. Um, I'm really into this one game, Remnant from the Ashes. That one's pretty good. Old RPGs pretty much is only like RuneScape for me and the Dragon Age games. Um, Further back than that, you could consider like first person RPG like BioShock. Those games I played. Man, I played a lot of RPG games. Now that I think about it, not MMORPG games though. Although I did do the trial of World of Warcraft. I like RPG games, but the thing is, I can never get past the character creation screen in any RPG game that I ever played. Like the only game I actually think I finished was Skyrim, and I never even finished Fallout because I just always create new characters. and it's something I can't actually play through the game. Like I always want to go back and start over. And what's up, Americus?
What's happening, buddy? How you doing?
Oh, just chilling, just chilling.
Yeah,
What
I
you got
go.
going? Yeah, what you got going on right now? What you got? Have you what kind of streams have you been on today?
Tico had one.
Oh yeah, that's right. That one was good. That one was good.
Yeah,
That was good. It like it turned into a party.
right, right. Yeah, our favorite characters were on. Win was there. You were there. Tico, of course.
Momentarily, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, it was a good stream, and they cut it
Hidden was there.
5
Yeah.
o'clock, so it was a good time. It's always entertaining.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I can't. I haven't been a multiplayer gamer since Call of Duty. I've like kind of stuck to the single player this whole entire time, and only until recently did I start playing chess online with people. And then there's like the occasional game that has that multiplayer feature.
Hmm.
But I just kind of like, yeah, I've quarantined myself like in a lot of different ways since before any of the COVID stuff. And that's kind of how I look at it in terms of like my learning curve in relation to other people in the manosphere, because it's like I don't really want to do the whole chumming it up stuff. I just want to get right to the the knowledge. And it almost is like I stay on live streams just to test my ability in real life to like make up the difference. And it's crazy, but it's what I do. It's like and I'm good at it. Like I'm good at just making myself suffer. So
That's a part of life. It's.
yeah.
I think it was in Buddhism. They said that desire is the root of all suffering. So suffering is a part of life, especially for man, because we're expected to get the job done, and nobody really has a lot of compassion for us in terms of if we succeed or if we fail. So it's just kind of a harsh reality that we have to deal with.
Mhm. Mhm. I mean, what? How would you? I guess because before you got here, maybe I was talking about that. I was talking about the. I was just talking about learning and education and stuff like that. Um, how would you say how would you say red pill rage fits into the learning process? Given your just recent statements on suffering and things like that.
It's a betrayal of to the extreme, to think that um, I mean, you never really look at the opposite gender as being your enemy. You know,
No.
you don't look at it that way until you after you get red pilled. So you went through all the suffering, and you didn't understand what was happening to you, and you had trust and good faith. You always acted in good faith. You always acted in trust, and you always provided a benefit of the doubt that the person you were dealing with always has good intentions for you. But the red pill is where you get flipped over, and you get opened up to something that you see the malevolence that was there the whole time, and
Yeah.
that's where the rage comes. And then probably there's some self-shaming involved too, where you think, well, how could I be so stupid, like to allow that to happen to me, or something to that effect. But
Hmm.
yeah, when people do you wrong, you're gonna get angry about it. You know.
Hmm. And then like to me, I think the longer you stay in the longer you take the red pill, the more people doing wrong to you in the real world becomes like, I guess, more off to the wayside, and you start analyzing who's the real culprit in all of this. And then I think that's where you lead into the black pill and stuff like, and it kind of follows through. The red pill is like a short journey if you never hit the red pill rage, or if you never like get into relationships again, or if you have or if you your job or financial situation is never really arduous, or you kind of just go straight to the black pill, or maybe you have to go through an epiphany before that. My thing with the rage is I just feel like there's a contrasting element. Like the red pill rage is you enjoying the fact that you think that you know more than other people. The red pill rage is you getting lost in the pleasure principles of the world, and only focusing on how to get away from the real world and taking and that's why I thought I was that's why I think I'm in red pill rage now, even though it's been a long time since I've been betrayed or something like that. Like I still feel like I'm in a rage mode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's understandable.
Mm. It might be different for other people. Like it might be people who are going through red pill rage, who have just been burned recently. I can maybe even like relate to them, because there was one time where I wasn't like, after I had ended a relationship where I just couldn't be in front of people and stuff like that. Whereas now it's just like I feel like I'm a magnet, like I attract people,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that I'm not 100% is kind of like the sign that I'm still working things out. It might not be red pill rage though. Now that I think about it, I mean there might be something in there. I don't understand the term.
I don't think people stay in it. I think it's something you hit that phase, and then I think you come out of that phase. I'm not trying to say that everybody's going to come out of the phase and everything's going to be great. I'm just saying that you can't stay mad forever. And what I think happens is that when people do certain behavior that is a repeat of something that really bothered you, I think it's more like getting your button pushed. I think you could rage like that, but once you take like a step back and you look and say, okay,
Yeah.
I understand
Like
what
for example,
yeah,
being manipulated.
right,
Like there's a time and place in your life where you start to draw boundaries and say, okay, I'm not going to be manipulated anymore. So if somebody tries to manipulate you
right,
and you react harshly, that's not you being in red pill rage. That's you actually having a boundary now, and knowing that that's not something you want in your life.
right.
Whereas red pill rage is just the continual just the continual confusion of your
Mm-hmm.
mind, where you're just being manipulated. You don't know why, but you know about this thing called you know about this red pill like you know about this red pill events that happen to me, to you, to other people. So you're like just trying to wrap around your head around it, and you may project stuff onto women, you may project stuff onto yourself, and it's just kind of like a swirl, a haze of anger. And I wouldn't say I'm in that. I think when I could have been in that, I worked out literally every single day, like as much as I could. I tried to learn as much as I could. I was always like I used to like watch like Smash Brothers and stuff. I used to watch like professional gaming, and competition is really what helps to channel that anger into something positive. I think like competition, some sort of activity involving other people, where you can see where you can kind of like learn to control your emotions in front of them. I think that's really beneficial, and I think for the red pill community should have something like where you like we like play soccer, or we play football, or we go fishing, or we like go camping, or do something physical. Because people who sweat together, they bond together really well. Like people, if you sweat with somebody, you're going to like have something that unites you, that you guys relate to. And
Right.
so some sort of physical activity. you know,
Absolutely. I mean,
it's like being in the prison, being in the yard or something, being like,
absolutely. I mean, boys and men, they should always be doing something physical. Really, I just say sports. They should be involved with some kind of sport. But like you say, if it's a team sport, you're going to bond with your teammates. if it's an individual sport, you're just trying to, essentially become like an Ubermensch. You're trying to be the best, a Superman, the best man that you can be. Through application and
Definitely, yeah.
through exertion. You know,
Definitely, yeah.
but you're always trying to refine yourself, and you're always trying to be better, and that's what manhood is basically about. So even if you are angry, you're going to channel your anger. But
Right.
as far as men being
Mhm.
angry, that's what the red pill is for. It's like it's going to make you angry. It's natural to be angry,
Mhm.
but it's also a good thing if you can analyze the situation you're in, and you can see exactly what's going on between you and your environment. And like you say, once you do understand it, you're probably not really going to be angry anymore. You're probably going to be able to avoid a problem.
Yeah, I like I found some priorities. I found that prioritizing things is good when you have a little bit too much on your plate,
Hmm.
and then not to spin plates like a PUA, because then that just leads to more, I get more being distraught, being upset over how complicated you made your life.
Exactly.
And I think it kind of relates to like Ponzi schemes too, because you get people who sell you on your position that you're in is not good, so you need to think of a radical solution, and they don't think that the red pill is like a radical solution. They consider that lame. They consider that they say that you're crazy. They say that you're, which, how you be lame and crazy. Um, but but it's easy to I think it's easier to avoid when you really just when you really just, I guess, stop stressing. When you just stop stressing about the world and stop stressing about relationships, just try to eliminate all that stress, and it's much easier to handle your problems than, I mean, and a set goals and achieve those goals.
Right.
And the more men do that, the less they're playing around in this fan or this I guess like house, a game of house with all these I guess manipulators, and you got the succubus, and then you got a bunch of people trying to steal your energy.
Exactly.
And the faster you set your terms of why you're in that house, and the quicker you achieve that, and then you get out, I think is the better off you'll be as a man, because
Exactly.
that's your place. Your place is outside doing stuff, not just sitting inside moping.
Exactly. And like
So
you say, you don't want to waste all your energy, that you have on things that are not going to produce results. So you have this PUA talking about, oh yeah, I've been PUAing for 25 years, and
damn.
then he'll say something like, well, yeah, you got to game your wife after you get married. You got to game your wife too.
No, 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 no.
Yeah. So this guy's got no results of gaming women for 25, 30 years. He doesn't really have any receipts. It's like he doesn't have a wife. He doesn't have children. Let's say he doesn't have a family. So you
Right.
got no receipts. You're just wasting your time. Whereas if you're a red pill, you're going to apply yourself into something, and you're going to become very proficient and successful in that.
It's like, yeah, it's just like, I mean, people will like sit in their house and be super distraught and get in their car and commute to work or their bike or the bus, and they won't just go outside and water their own grass, or tidy up their window fixtures, or buy new decorations, because they put so much money into the plantation. Like I feel like it's just they invest in something that's not where they're at. That's this like way off ethereal place that's not even guaranteed. And I think that like the red pill will actually help people, everyday people, to just apply themselves more to what they're doing, to help them to focus in on what they're doing, and to like help them decompress, and
Absolutely.
just to take a step back and reassess what they're doing. And and it's, to me, it's like it's hammering home those same concepts, But it's really, to me, it's filling the space with somebody who's good at talking, who then is presenting topics that somebody else can bring up. Like, and I know for me, my mindset is going to change dramatically if each iteration of of every failure that I encounter, I'll have to kind of build up from the ground up. So I see it as like a lot of people will shame me and they'll be like, how do you expect to ever have a girlfriend with that mindset? How do you expect to have a car or own this or do that, or how do you expect to be somebody famous? I'm like, I don't want to be anybody famous. I don't want anything that you think I should have. I just want I just want peace of mind, clarity, and just focus, to be able to focus on what I want to focus on.
But that's what
And
MGTOW is: peace, quiet, and freedom.
exactly, exactly. That's better. I like that. I like what it is as opposed to what people say not to do. And I think we should have more just of an internal dialogue when it comes to things that we don't tolerate, as opposed to what we project. Like, MGTOW is freedom. MGTOW is peace and quiet. Kingy MGTOW, he said MGTOW is math.
Exactly.
And it's mathematical. It's mathematically sound uh, structure. It's like it's like creating a mathematically sound structure. It's like creating a harmonious melody. So
Absolutely.
it's like creating something that just fits and sounds good. It's not shaming other men for their decisions. Uh, it's not being a hardliner. It's not about projecting confidence in 100% of areas. It's not about your mentality, because, like I said, your mentality changes. It's not even about controlling your emotions, because, like I said, we get into these spaces, we control our emotions for a reason, for a specific reason, and then when we get out, we are able to be human beings with normal emotions, because we're everyday human beings. We're not like some snake people or something that just feel nothing and are super cold and PUA like. I hate our characterization that is just recurring all the time. We
There's
just
no
get the
result.
same.
There's no results for that. That's the thing. They could talk about I'm doing this, and all the girls love me, and I'm manipulating them, but they ain't gonna manipulate me. But then
Yeah,
you,
exactly. They're like, I'm a manipulative guy. I
yeah,
manipulate people. It's like,
yeah.
okay, but then how can you say that there's any substance between you, and how are you going to say that you're going to be with her long term if you're manipulating her? Like, once she figures it out, isn't she going to leave, or isn't she going to do anything? And
And
I got these guys who say like, oh no, well, I always upgrade. I always upgrade. I'm like, why do you always have to upgrade so much? It's like yeah, of course you should upgrade every time you're in a relationship, but you shouldn't quote unquote upgrade immediately after your relationship fails with another relationship that's gonna fail, onto another relationship that's gonna fail.
yeah,
And yeah,
to me, it's just fronting. It's just fronting. It's like, look, I'm so fabulous. I got this great situation, but like you say, there's no substance to it. So really, what is life if it's not made up of substance and a strong constitution? It's like it ain't even worth it.
true, 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 so true. And I like that a little bit more. I like that color. But yeah, yeah, it's stuff that like it will really it'll really make me understand human beings in a whole new way when I hear people who are in relationships now talk about it, as if they think that they want to say that I'm wrong, but they can't, because what I'm saying they agree with. They just don't like how I'm saying it. So it's like, how else am I going to say it? It's the truth. It's true. How else am I going to say something that's true? I'm going to say it truthfully, and you're not going to like it if you're a person that doesn't believe it, or that doesn't practice it, that doesn't practice something where you think you deserve better.
Well,
And a lot of these girls, they think that because somebody pays for them, that that they're secure, that they're secure. Meanwhile, they feel very insecure about the relationship. You can see it in their behavior because they do things to keep the guy around.
Mm.
Like they cook for him, they give him sex, they
Mm-hmm.
give him attention, they
Mm-hmm.
do all this stuff because they secretly they're afraid of ending the relationship because who are they going to get after? It's like they're very confident, but then they ask their boyfriend, "Why do you like me? Like, what do you like about me?"
Mm-hmm.
Or what, and this kind of stuff. And it's just that's so confusing to me, and that's why I'm like, I won't deal with her unless she's something like Tico's setup where just get like comes out of the blue and just like knows everything or like no claims to know everything that I like and won't
Mm-hmm.
won't want to live with me. Casual, complete like casual when we're with each other. You can get to know each other, and I've said it before wrongly, like leaving mystery in the relationship, like leaving something mysterious about somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, they're all. I mean, we're pretty simple. I mean, like pretty simple. Like men are pretty simple. Like we have simple, you know, tastes or wants or needs or desires. Pretty straightforward. Like nobody's really that deep where you could leave something like mysterious up to something. I don't know.
I mean, we're just all trying to survive. I mean, the
Yeah, it
thing,
doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day.
these people are living in a fairy tale kind of a fantasy land, and they're talking. They're in a James Bond movie that there's supposed to be some mystery. Why does there have to be some mystery? I mean, if you want to find out what somebody is, you're going to spend the time with them to get to know who they are. I mean, that's just how it works.
Right. Yeah, if you want to get to know somebody, you got to put in effort.
You have to put the time in, and you have to
Mhm.
understand that by putting that time in, that's how you're going to get to know who somebody is and what is their makeup and what do they like, what do they don't like, how do they relate to you, what value do they bring to your life, and that's a real relationship. That's like
Mhm.
what Tico was saying. A real relationship is where both parties are investing in the relationship. It's not one sided.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the pressure that you experience from people, like if you're someone who is who exposes themselves as a person who's single, whereas like some people, their confidence levels, they can be like, I'm dating everyone,
Yeah.
or I date whoever comes by. Where meanwhile you're like thinking like, what do they do? It doesn't really matter. But to be a person that's more I guess the somnambulant, the person who's a more of a loner, people who don't like the anomaly is a channel I think of a lot because people definitely probably people look at you as if you're like, who does this nigga think he is, just blowing off women? Like, who do you think you are? You think you're some like some gay boy or something? You think that you're some cool hot shit? Like, yeah, I'm sexy ass motherfucker. I don't care about these women like that. But they don't want to accept that. They would rather just say like you're scared or you're in denial or you don't really know you don't know what you want. And it's like I don't have to know what I want. You don't have to tell me what I want. You just leave me alone.
It's not up to
But
them. It's not up to them
exactly.
to tell you what you want. You decide what you want. You decide.
Right.
You decide. You decide. I just say like intrinsically, like what you have value for and what you don't have value for. You don't need someone to tell you what you value.
Right. That's like gives me flashbacks to blue pill days because that's what I feel like I was doing. Well, what I do now is I ask people who are red pill to I guess like just emote, I guess, which is kind of like something that I guess you could say is a flaw in mine. Like I just go into a space just to learn a lot of the times, and I will say stuff that will just be shocking to people, but they don't know why I'm saying it. It's because I'm trying to get some more information out of the situation, and like before when I didn't know anything about the red pill, I didn't really do this. Like I didn't really go to people for help. I kind of just assumed a lot about people, and then after this, it's almost like I'm like more needy than I've ever been because I'm just hungry for knowledge. I'm hungry to learn more about myself, and I ask my peers a lot about how they how like what they how they view me, like what am I doing wrong, am I doing what am I doing good, what could
Hmm.
I improve on,
Hmm.
and it's one of those things where I don't necessarily see the brothers doing that, so it's kind of like how I kind of like I said, like the learning curve. I feel like I like differentiate myself from people by being very inquisitive. And,
Absolutely. And you're doing a good job at that. And I, in a way, I do the same thing. I do the same thing. I want to pick up as much information as I can. I've always
hmm
been a high achiever. I always did really. I excelled in school. I was honor roll. I was always someone who achieved mastery at different things. But when I deal with the red pill, there's so many good content creators, and we're both well aware of who they are.
hmm
All I do is pretty much like if this was a basketball game, I just let the game come to me. I'm not forcing the game. I let the game come
hmm
to me. So these guys, they're so full of knowledge and information that all you have to do is be receptive to it, and you
Oh
sit
yeah,
back and you absorb the information, and then you process it and apply it whatever way it suits you the best.
totally, totally. And sometimes being on the stream with them can be like it's like a revolutionary experience because you're just like, oh crap. And I get used to being being like the most talkative person, and then all of a sudden somebody who's more talkative comes in, and I'm like, wow, I just humbled. I'm just humbled by it a lot of times, and so I got much love for the brothers out there, and I really like the fact that everyone that posts whatever they do, and they just have this routine, and we all come together whenever the time permits, just to share more experiences, and yeah, so yeah, I guess my thoughts and my closing thoughts on it is, when it comes to that school analogy that Hayden was talking about, we haven't graduated. There's always something to learn. And the teacher, the red pill, doesn't decide who sticks together and who doesn't. At the end of the day, it's something that we have to take accountability and responsibility for whenever people try to come in and join in on the conversation. We have to be very accountable. We have to hold ourselves accountable and make sure that people don't come in and disrupt that learning. And so, yeah, I would just leave that. I would just like to leave everyone with that thought and close that out. And give America some chance to either shout his channel or close your thoughts, and then we just end this little shindig.
Yeah, I have a few thoughts and we'll wrap it up. It's like the first one is like when it comes to little kids in school and stuff, boys need to be involved with sports. They need to be active. They need to be running around. They need to have a vector to kind of disperse their energy, and they shouldn't be sitting in seats for 6 hours a day, being told not to talk and not to move. So like all fathers out there, they got to be aware of that. That kind of public schools are kind of like ruining boys and ruining kids.
Mm.
The other thing that I'm
True
thinking of,
story. True story.
yeah, yeah. The other thing I'm thinking of is, yeah,
In college, it's worse because you sit 88 minutes, then you have to walk through walk through the courtyard, walk through the forum where there's like concession stands and like a dining area, places where you can waste money.
right,
Oh, and then you go like, yeah, to the next class. It's just like to sit down again and not talk.
right. Yeah, knock out your business and then get on with things. You got to balance out your life. Get into some kind of sport, get into cross training, swimming, running, biking, jumping rope, playing basketball, whatever it is, because those are some things that I like to do. But we got to be outside, we got to be active, and we have to have another kind of an escape away from that sedentary kind of like lockdown environment. We got to be able to be free to an extent. And the other thing is, the red pill and the manosphere is great because of all the brothers that come in and make a contribution. So I always try to give a shout out to those guys. Y'all know who you are. And
Thanks for you're always shouting me out in the anytime I'm in the comment section. You're always like, Baron, yeah, stay
yeah,
big time. Yeah, thank
definitely.
you.
And you and Tico, man, you guys are a great duo as far as doing your show. You know,
Yeah, we couldn't do it tonight. He has a early travel day tomorrow, but we
Mhm.
will definitely be there whenever we can be, because Lord knows him and I together we could filibuster the entire Congress, every single bad bill with all the pork fat on it. We would filibuster that until the end of time. So we're fighting the good fight.
It's one of the top three, shows or channels that anybody in the manosphere can check it out. And it's very inspiring, and it brings up your spirits and your energy, and it makes, like you say, it makes you want to learn more. So shout out to all the brothers out there in the
Wow, thanks.
manosphere. Stay MGTOW,
Absolutely.
stay MGTOW, AD approved. All right. Hope you enjoyed the live stream, and we'll talk to you soon.
There you go. You guys have a good day. Be good and rest easy. This is Baron Yam, American Stiville. We're out. Peace.
Peace out.